Welcome back to the Fat Life Podcast.
Welcome to the shit show.
Sunday evening, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there living your life.
Yep. Fur moms, snake moms, baseball moms, single
moms, yeah.
Stripper moms, all the moms.
If you're a mom and you've got a child, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Unless you're a mom at 2 a.m. sitting at a bar looking for a hookup.
Yep.
Well, happy Mother's Day to you too, I guess.
No, you should be home with
Live your
children.
life. Do you, boo-boo. Do you.
You want to talk about women and how they cannot get over certain things? It's been public news lately.
How do you mean?
Arizona woman, 31,
Okay.
stalked her date. Said she wanted to bathe in his blood.
The Paradise Valley lady.
Yes. In one of the 65,000 text messages, get this, in 24 hours.
In 24 hours.
In 24 hours.
65,000 text messages.
This dude was out of town, and when the police came and knocked on the door, she was in his bathtub taking a bath.
So, is there something wrong with that?
Are you fucking kidding me? No, so she was on the news yesterday and interviewed. I don't know if you got to see this, Mike.
No.
She was interviewed yesterday in an orange jumpsuit, and they're asking her, so, you know, like, do you find anything wrong with what you did? No. All he had to do was ask me to stop, and I would have.
So why didn't he?
Oh, apparently he did. He even put restraining orders against her.
65, yeah, this bitch is nuts.
And, okay.
And she turned around to the police when they found her in the bathtub and said, well, if you let me go, I know now he doesn't want me here. I'll go back home, which is somewhere like Oklahoma or something.
Yep.
I wish.
No, it's Miami.
Miami?
Home. Yep. Miami's home. Man, I haven't told you any of my stories. We're going to breeze through them because that's a perfect segue.
Yeah, I read that story. That was a good story.
Wait,
Which one?
wait. I'm not done
The
with
PV
that.
one.
I'm not done with the PV story.
Okay, keep going.
As a man, is it wrong to want a woman to want you that much?
No, I mean, that's great to feel wanted like that.
Okay, come on.
But that's a bit extensive.
Who has time, number one, to type 65,000 text messages, let alone read them? Do you want to be wanted that bad? There's something about being wanted, and there's something about being obsessive compulsive. Not obsessive compulsive, but stalking. That's a good stalker.
Yeah, it's considered a stalking.
That's a good stalker.
It is?
Yeah, it was considered a stalking case.
I should probably stop doing that then. I don't know. I think, like, personally, I get it.
They went out on one date.
One date, he obviously wasn't into her because he would have responded after the 10th text, maybe the 100th text, maybe the 1,000th, who knows. But you would think at a certain point he would have done something.
Down goes
The drink.
What was it? Down goes Foreman. Is that the old saying?
Down goes forward. Boxing. All right, so that's basically all I have for that one. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
What's your segue?
he's originally from Miami.
Okay.
Miami's in some shit right now too.
Why?
You know, it's prom season.
Of course.
A lot of people going to prom.
Sure.
Prom's called Welcome to the Jungle. Who's the prom king?
Oh no. No.
Who's prom king? A caged fucking lion. Sorry, tiger.
What?
They brought a caged fucking tiger to the Miami prom.
Okay.
At Christopher Columbus High School, of all high schools.
Interesting. Okay.
So these families are in uproar because they had a caged tiger at the prom.
So, how old was the tiger?
It doesn't go
It doesn't say?
No.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is vice principals.
Never seen it?
The caged tiger and vice principals.
Cage Tiger at the end, the season finale.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they did it.
I could, yeah.
But don't prom, like, the planning committees or whatever, have to get approval from, like, you know, the principal and things of that nature?
For the most part, yeah. I would have to assume so. Someone in charge should have thought, tiger's probably not the best fucking option.
Can you imagine if that motherfucker got out? I'm gonna put him over.
You know, if he had gotten out, I don't necessarily. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on the idea. I think it's a unique idea that a school would do something like that. That a school would have first of all, the theme of Welcome to the Jungle, I think, is bad. Because what if
Who sings that song? AC/DC?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. What if the prom king wound up being African American?
That's what your dad probably thought I was going with.
No, I wasn't sure.
I mean, like, that's... you don't want to go 10 years down the road at your high school reunion and be like, I was prom king to Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah, it's... I don't know. But a tiger... I guess. I could see it. I think it's a stupid idea, but it's Florida. Stupid shit comes out of Florida all the time, so...
Have you noticed, listening to like some other podcasts and everything, all their crimes come out of Florida?
Yes. The craziest shit comes out of Florida.
Yeah.
The guy who ate the other dude's face when he was on bath salts.
Yep.
Florida. Like, it's... Yeah.
There's a recent one, a dude got mauled by a crocodile.
Florida.
Yep.
Baby gets snatched at Disney World by a crocodile. Florida.
Well, there was and number one, it's alligators. There's a difference. Number two, there was a Thursday, I got an alert on my phone from Channel 15 saying that they were evacuating a lake in Orlando looking for a teenager that was supposedly eaten by an alligator. Mm-hmm. And they had searchers and divers out there. Number one, divers. Do you want to be the diver looking for an alligator that just ate somebody?
Nope.
Long story short, apparently, Florida's full of older folks, retired folks from the East Coast. They all seem to want to retire down in Florida. I know that's where my dad is. And an older gentleman heard what he thought was a teenager screaming for help, saying they'd been bit by somebody, and he could see somebody thrashing around in the lake. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he called the police, and the police came. They found the body the next day. No signs of trauma from an alligator, no bite marks, no anything like that. Turned out to be they weren't sure if she was Hispanic or African American, and late teens, early 20s. So that stuff happens down there all the time.
Where did they die from?
They don't know. They were doing an investigation. But I know when Carter was younger, we used to go see my dad in Florida. And on one visit, we went to see him, and he would tell us how it wouldn't be a year that would go by that a homeless person would be eaten by an alligator because they go down to the canals and they bathe. Mm-hmm. And the alligators are always there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's a trip.
I lived in Florida for 2 years in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. And my mom was a property manager of an apartment complex. Mm-hmm. And this old lady came in, and her little, like, fluffy dog got snatched off the leash by an alligator.
Are you serious?
Because the apartments were, like, right on the water. Got snatched up by the alligator while she was walking it.
Holy cow. Speaking of which, Carter, alligator, crocodile, you know what we came across the other day?
What's that?
In one of the boxes? Steve Irwin's autograph.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the crocodile hunter.
Yeah, I saw a great meme on Facebook of a stingray with the Infinity Gauntlet. And Steve Irwin, Steve Irwin says, "I don't feel so good."
That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's almost as bad as the Avengers toy line that's coming out.
Oh man, dude! We were talking about this at work the other day, and one of the leads on my team sent a picture over. I got a whole text chain from it, and it says, "Who was your favorite character from Infinity Wars?" And it's 4 different piles of ash. And the one I sent to him was O.J. Simpson trying to put on the glove, and on the other hand was the Infinity Gauntlet, and Nicole Simpson's just vanishing away.
That's bad. That's bad.
The direct text I got from my supervisor's like, that's all kinds of wrong. I was like,
Do you think that it's ironic that the new Ford Bronco's coming out shortly after OJ gets released from prison?
Oh, really? Jeez.
Well, I mean, they've been talking about releasing that thing for a while.
Oh, I
now,
know,
and
but
That Bronco took a hit after that.
yeah.
They really did.
that's actually a funny story. I was at a service yesterday, and I went up and was talking to someone I hadn't seen in like 7 years, and he couldn't remember who I was, and I was like, hey, you know, it's me. And once we started talking, he kind of started to remember who I was. He's like, you were the guy with the souped up truck, right? And I was like, hey, it was a Bronco, but yeah. He's like, that's what it was, the OJ Mobile. I remember you. I was like, yeah, that's me. Yeah,
It's a great way to be remembered.
yeah,
Right.
Exactly. I love that thing. That thing was an awesome vehicle. But I hear the new Bronco that they're coming out with is supposed to be just as good. I don't know that I would personally purchase one, only because it's not the original, and I
Yeah.
would only want the original. But I mean, that's just me.
Well, you know, and if the new Bronco is supposed to have that little GPS smart screen on it, touch
Right.
screen, it'll tell you where to hide the glove.
That shit still amazes me.
What part of it?
How afterwards the glove didn't fit.
Well, it's pretty simple. I think I've seen some documentaries on it. And he was on a anabolic steroid that swelled his hands up, which made it so that the glove
During the
wouldn't
trial?
fit during the trial.
Okay.
Which is why his hands were inflamed when they tried to put it on, and that's why the glove did not fit, and they had to acquit. But you know,
And if you ever watch that interview with him that he did, if I had killed them,
Yeah, that's a trippy interview.
that, you know, number one, okay, why even throw that out there?
Yeah.
Why even, I can't even see that you're just trying to clear your name. You know, that's just in poor taste all the way around that you're going to throw something out there like that. If I had killed him, this is what I would have done. Or this is how it would have went down, and this is what he would have said. I mean, he even had saying what Goldman supposedly said and what she said, and I just, you know, that's like Jack the Ripper. If I had done it, this is how I would have done it. Yeah.
did they ever catch Jack the Ripper?
No. They thought he was royalty.
Oh.
They thought he was royalty.
Well, I know they never caught the Zodiac killer, but when I first became a lead at my company, there was a lady who came through. Maybe the second week she was working on the floor, I was talking to her, doing coachings and stuff with her, and she said, you know, my great-grandfather was not my great-grandfather, my grandfather was the Zodiac killer. And I was like,
Who
okay,
admits to that?
why would you say that? And I guess their family had done a bunch of research and noticed that all the handwritings that were ever done by the Zodiac killer were identical to his handwriting. And
Seriously?
he was an actual suspect in the case, but they had to let him go because they had lack of evidence.
Jeez.
He's long gone now. But I always found that interesting, talking to her about it. Like,
Well, that's
really?
like the Golden State Killer. Did you hear how they found him?
No.
The
don't even know
DNA,
who
wasn't
the
it?
Golden
Yeah, so
State
the
Killer is.
detective.
He was a cop.
He was a cop and a Navy guy that killed. 40 years ago, he went on a 10-year crime spree.
Really?
And first, he started off by just breaking into their houses,
Okay.
and he would take something,
Okay.
but nothing of like huge noticeability.
Right.
And then he'd come back and hang out in their house while they were gone. And then he would come back while they were sleeping. And then he would come back one more time and he would rape and kill them.
Interesting.
Yes.
So-
And so the way the detective that ended up like breaking the case did it off of the 23andMe.
Right.
He took his DNA and submitted it to 23andMe to figure out who it was,
Interesting.
the relatives and everything. Hey, baby cakes. What's up?
Yeah, you going?
Blizzards, guys. Hold on. We're gonna take a quick pause.
We'll be
So-
right back with you after
Yeah,
this
we gotta make a
commercial break.
quick Blizzard
Do you
order.
want me to text it to you? I just want the berry cheesecake, the new one.
Oh, me too, baby cakes. Man, your dad and I really are one and the same. This is scary.
Berry cheesecake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their new flavor.
It's like very berry cheesequake.
Okay.
You're the one that wants to jack off Donald Glover in the backseat of your car. Talk about gay.
I will take
The old
a
gay owl.
small chocolate extreme blizzard, please.
See? Going back to the chocolate extreme.
Speaking of Donald Glover, I actually wanted to go over some stuff with him today. Not because we talked about him last week, but have you seen Gambino's new music video?
I saw him on Saturday Night Live.
Did you see his performance of his last song?
Yeah. No, the last song, no.
The last song? So, he's breaking the internet right now with this new video that he released. The song's called This Is America.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain. He's been talking about, he released his last album, which was called, if I remember correctly, Awaken My Love, which was very soul, very R&B, gospel. There was a mixture of everything, which is very different than what people were used to seeing from him.
Right.
Because he was the actor turned hardcore rapper, and then he came out with a little bit more jazzy but still hardcore rapping.
Right.
And then he released this whole album of gospel music, and it was really good, in my opinion. But he came out with this song called This Is America. And it's one of those music videos that even if you don't like the guy, you have to watch it, because there's so many minute details throughout the entire video that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it, and you'll miss the overall message of what the video is trying to explain and what the song is about, and I guess for myself, I find myself kind of guilty by it because it's about Black America and America in general, but ultimately Black America, and it starts with him, he's wearing these pants that resemble slave pants, and he's slowly dancing, and there's a guy playing guitar. He's got a drape over his head, like a sack over his head, and before the song drops and he starts rapping, he shoots him in the back of the head, and he hands the gun to somebody who puts it into like a blanket and walks away with it gently while the body gets dragged across the floor, symbolizing that we stake so much more in guns than the human life afterwards.
Okay.
And the whole thing is him dancing, and he's dancing with school kids, and while he's dancing with school kids, there's all this chaos and crime happening in the background, but you're not seeing it because you're only paying attention to the fact that he's dancing with these kids throughout the entire video. And then it goes into, at one point he comes around a corner and there's a gospel choir singing, and he's sitting there dancing with them and he's singing the song, and someone hands him an AK and he blows them all away. And then he throws the gun away and keeps moving on. And it's just like this whole point of view, I think, of a crisis that we're dealing with in America as it is today. But he's also showing how we easily can be distracted by something completely different after something major like this happens, because it quickly pans into something completely different, so that you're not focusing on the fact that this entire gospel choir just got blown away.
Right.
You're focusing on something completely different now.
Right.
And the attention spans. And the attention to detail in that video is just absolutely incredible. And it's going to be one of the biggest songs, I think, of 2018 because of the overall message of the song and the overall message of the video. It's already broken YouTube records with how quickly it went from being dropped and nobody knowing it to within a day or two it had 65 million views.
Wow.
And now it's well over 100 million views. But yeah, Donald Glover, that's where it's at.
You recording?
Yeah.
We're on?
Yeah, we never stopped.
Oh, I thought you put us on pause.
No.
No, we're still going.
I'm sorry. You heard Reggie yawn throughout that.
Well, that's because... nope. Not getting political.
Political. All right.
Carter
What?
says this is America.
This is America.
I'm a military veteran.
Yes, sir.
I am not getting in that conversation. It's not
Quick
This is
question.
America. The whole song, video is anti-gun. So we'll just On to the next subject.
No. Not on to the next subject, because I strongly disagree with you on that. In what way is that video anti-gun?
Well, you just said that it's all about how we glorify the guns and not the dead body.
In the first aspect, yes.
And then you talk about the AK-47. And
absolutely.
So
but
this whole thing,
the whole video is not about glorifying guns and not the human life. The whole point of the music video, the whole point of the subject matter of it, is that we have these crimes that are happening, but our attention span goes from one thing to another, and we don't do anything about it. I'm not saying we're talking about gun control or anything like that, but these crimes are happening every single day, and that was the whole point of these crimes are happening while we're paying attention to him dancing with these kids. All these crimes are happening every day, but we're not paying attention to them because we're being distracted by mainstream media.
It's now okay, and I don't know so much that it's mainstream. Maybe in that case it is. We're being distracted, but I think that's the latest thing in politics now is distraction.
Right.
Because if I can distract you long enough, and what's that remind you of? It's a reality show.
Absolutely.
Politics has become nothing but a reality show.
And that's what happens when you...
Well, it's sad.
We'll stop.
So, last
what happens when you what?
Last Sunday night, the Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Boston Bruins to head to the NHL's Eastern Conference Finals. And guess what?
What's that?
Nobody got licked.
Nobody got licked?
That was not a guarantee. Bruins left wing Brad Marchand licked opposing players twice this postseason. Marchand is famously antagonistic and annoying, earning the unofficial title of the biggest pest in the NHL, a label his team has embraced. But his new strategy earned some air off the ice, and the National Hockey League stepped in to order Marchand to knock it off. In Game 1 of the Bruins' first-round series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Marchand licked Leo Gormakov's neck. The Bruins beat the Maple Leafs in that game. Marchand had a goal and an assist and won the series as well. But Marchand's second licking wasn't so lucky. During Game 4 of the second-round series on Friday, Marchand lapped at Lightning forward Ryan Callahan. The Bruins lost. Marchand was unrepentant. Well, he punched me 4 times in the face, so, Marchand said afterwards. After that, the NHL decided it had enough. A league executive scolded Marchand on Saturday, giving him a tongue lashing, as the Boston Globe put it. So, licking a player.
Okay.
To what low do you have to stoop that you're going to lick a player?
It's all a head game. You're a psychologist. You know this.
Yeah, well, there comes a point, though, and...
It's kind of like Conor McGregor's tactics, though.
Yeah, okay.
In what way?
But wouldn't you...
It's all getting in that opponent's head.
The mind state?
Who the fuck's going to lick somebody?
Okay, but what happened to the Magic Johnson rule?
I don't know what that is.
That if a player...
Oh,
back in the day when Magic Johnson came out and had AIDS but still wanted to play basketball, they said that if at any time there was open fluid on a player, they had to stop the game and clean it up.
But is that... I'm going to assume that's a NBA-specific ruling.
It was.
The fact that, like, UFC, when you bust a dude's head open, he's still going.
They're
right.
properly tested
but
before
at the same time, all UFC fighters are tested beforehand.
Yeah. God, that's a tough one. Because I understand the concept of getting into someone's head in any way, shape, or form, but at the same time, at what point is enough enough?
Right. Agreed.
Well, I mean, if Conor McGregor had someone in a grapple or in clinch and started licking the dude, you gay boy? Like, the hell? But that's just me.
He's pulling some of your moves.
So, my other story was this zoo in Canada, Discovery Wild Park, got busted May 10th because they were taking the bear out to Dairy Queen for ice cream. They would go through the drive-thru and order a cone for the bear and feed it to the bear while they were in the drive-thru.
That seems like a pretty Canadian thing to do, though.
Right? They said they were doing it to post a video to show how if you came across a bear on the road, you don't feed it. It was dangerous. But apparently the Sioux was under investigation because it was revealed that last year they took the bear home every night to bottle feed it.
Oh, so it was a cub.
It was a cub, but it's grown. Well, it's 2018, so it's grown into something. It was a Kodiak bear. So,
Well, I kind of see where they're coming from. Kodiak bear, on average, fully grown is maybe 300-400 pounds. They're a baby bear. So as a cub, if it needs to be bottle fed and it needs an overnight feeding and they don't have,
staff to do it.
Right. I get that. They're looking out for the animal.
But take it to Dairy Queen?
Hey, his name's Yogi, all right? Get over it.
God. I see the Diamondbacks are losing now again.
Oh, are they?
It's now 6-4. Had to turn the game off. I can't watch it when there's a female commentator. Not because I have anything against female sports commentator. Only if they haven't played the sport that they're commentating on.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can have a female talking about baseball. It's not softball. It's baseball.
And baseball is different. So, and I see the argument. So right now there's the female that is going for the head coaching job in the NBA.
Right.
And that one I get because WNBA, NBA are the same actual sport.
Right.
As to where baseball and softball, completely different pitching aspects, completely different
bases are shorter.
base lengths, completely different home run lengths.
Right.
Everything in that aspect truly is different.
And you're sitting there listening to her talk about how she understands what a player is going through. No, you don't. Unless you've played the sport, you don't. You can sympathize or empathize, but you don't understand what they're going through. And I have an issue with that. That kind of struck me a wrong way. It's almost like when they have the females commentating on football. And I just don't agree with that either because they don't know the game. They really don't. I thought it was interesting when the NBA decided to have women referees.
Uh-huh.
That's okay because the WNBA is very similar to the NBA. But the idea that they're doing football, and I'm sorry if I'm offending some people out there, but you know what? It's what makes the world go round.
Okay. So, on the same subject, softball, obviously there's a shorter distance to the bags and whatever, but a softball batter has to stand in the plate, make contact with the ball that's
Right.
coming at them at a high speed.
Right.
Obviously their swing is a lot different. That was one thing that shocked me the most watching softball players bat, is their swing is a lot different. They drag the bat, they just try to make contact and run. But at the same time, they're still standing there with the same sort of pressure on them. Can you empathize and understand where a female commentator who was a U.S. Olympian in softball could understand that feeling that a Major League Baseball player would be standing at the bat with a ball coming at them at 90-something miles an hour,
And
trying to make contact for their team? The overall, what's the word I'm looking for? Idea of the sport is the same.
Again, and I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I respect that. But at the same point, I got to say no because of the fact that the baseball is a lot smaller than the softball.
Sure.
And you're using the same kind of bat, the same size bat. As a matter of fact, the men are using wooden bats as opposed to aluminum bats.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ball's a lot smaller.
the ball's a lot smaller. It's a lot faster. You get a 94 mile per hour fastball as opposed to a 70 mile per hour softball. That's bigger. That's coming at you. I don't know. I have a hard time with it. I don't want to hear about it. I'd rather hear a couple of guys talking about it, especially guys that have played the sport. That's the other thing I have an issue is when you got somebody like Tom Brenneman who does baseball and football but hasn't played either. And I don't know.
So the same thing goes to Al Michaels.
Oh, definitely.
Never played
Definitely.
in his life.
Definitely.
He's one of the biggest football announcers that there is.
Definitely. I understand with Al Michaels, you've got experience because he's been doing it for years. But at the same point, what's he always saying? So what do you think he's thinking? Or you've played the game. Tell me, why would he do something like that?
Sure.
You know, that's a difference. That's a difference.
Now, in the same aspect, just playing devil's advocate here, as someone who's trying to portray to the audience, do you feel it hurts them having someone who has to ask someone else to explain what's going through their mindset versus someone just out explaining it?
It's a double-edged sword.
See, because like if you had two football players who played the game, one's playing color commentary, you have one person doing play-by-play. Play-by-play, the only thing he's focused on telling you what play just happened and how many yards it got.
Right.
And you have a color commentator who knows the sport, understands the sport, understands what they're thinking. You say that hurts it instead of helping it. Versus having two people who know the sport or two people who have played the sport doing the same job.
Depends on who it is. Because if you take it and you look at Tony Romo,
horrible.
Why?
God awful.
Why?
Really?
I'm asking.
Oh my God, he was the worst.
But why?
As Charles Barkley would say, he's just terrible.
He was just terrible.
He's just terrible.
Terrible.
Well, give me some examples.
Oh God, there's 25 YouTube videos that'll tell you why.
I don't know why you think so.
Just his mannerisms, his reactions to every fucking play.
It was almost like
over the top acting, in my opinion.
When Magic Johnson tried to do basketball, it just didn't work.
But that's what you get when someone knows the game like crazy.
Right.
Sure.
So not every commentator, not every player will make a great commentator.
Right. Or is it that it's Tony Romo? Because he's probably top 3 most hated quarterbacks. You take Tony Romo and you put Tom Brady when he retires, both as announcers, they're both going to get the same reactions because they're hated by so many.
Tony Romo was overrated, though.
Yeah,
agreed.
Honestly, I don't agree, because I think you could take Kurt Warner, who a lot of people liked. State of Arizona loves him.
I don't. I don't like him as a commentator.
Well, I don't like him either.
And simply put, because every time he says something about the Cardinals, they're never as good as when he played on the team.
There are a lot of
it's like you said with baseball and Eric Burns, same way.
Right.
I think that even if you had someone who was beloved, like Drew Brees or Peyton Manning, doing commentary, or let's say Russell Wilson 10 years down the road,
not going to happen.
It never will. But if you had that, if he acted the way Romo did, I would hate him just as much as I hated Romo. It's not the person, it's the reactions, it's how you act on the mic. Period.
Okay.
Whether it's the person or not, that doesn't bother me. I would, if Romo did a good job, I would give him 100% credit and say he does a great job. But it's his personality on the mic that kills it for me, not him himself.
So you think he just tries too hard?
Yeah, I think he tries to be a comedian. He tries to be the next Madden. He's always like, wow, or oh, woo-hoo-hoo. Like, I don't need the reactions. Tell me what the fuck's going on and move on. You know? It's the same shit when Fox does games out here for the Cardinals. We get no fucking respect. We get no nothing. Just tell me what's going on. I don't need you to blow the Giants for 3 quarters. I don't give a shit what the Giants are doing. I don't care what the Seahawks are doing great or the 49ers. I just want to know what's happening in the game. Period. And if it was the vice versa, because I know people are going to say this, what if it was them talking all these great things about the Cardinals? I don't want to hear it. I just want to see what's going on in the game. Period. I know the Cardinals are fucking good. I watch every goddamn game.
Speaking of which, anybody watch Saturday Night Live last night?
No.
I saw bits and pieces of it.
The news was the best.
I thought what's her name was hilarious. Jenny McCarthy.
I see. Now I didn't watch all Melissa McCarthy. I didn't watch all of that. I just watched when she came out. They were doing the news and they were showing the emblem of Best Buy, and they were talking about how Best Buy was trying to update its brand for the new age, and they were changing their logo, and the logo they're changing it to is Amazon.
That's funny.
So, but speaking of the latter, and we're talking about the river that runs in the jungle, I was telling Carter this, Reggie. The other day, my wife and I are sitting in the bedroom having a conversation. Friday, we're having a conversation, and as we're having a conversation, all of a sudden, the little echo that we have in the bedroom turns around and says, "Would you like to talk with SocialBot?" Out of the blue.
No, you told me this.
And we look at each other, and I'm like, "What?" And she says, "Would you like to talk to SocialBot? I can talk about Superman. I can talk about the weather. I can talk about water." And I was like, "Okay." And she said, "What would you like to talk about?" So I said, "Superman." And she says, "Do you think Superman thinks as he's flying over the city that with the invent of all the cellular phones, people are just trying to get rid of phone booths where Superman can't change anymore?" And I started laughing. I was like, "Okay, that was funny. Would you like to talk some more?" And I said, "No, thank you. I'm done." And she said, "Okay." And that was it. And she turned off. So why is she coming on when nobody's talking to her? Because that's not what it's supposed to do, number one. Number two, how much do they actually listen to when you have it sitting in your house? I'm not trying to get all Big Brother on us or anything, but that's pretty bizarre. Now, I know they've already had an issue with them where they start laughing uncontrollably, or they do the mechanical laugh, which is very evil-like. But it's kind of weird that out of the blue these things are going on.
Well, so my company just recently gave us as a welcome package Amazon Echoes. Each member of the team got one. And I purposely did not take one because I knew, I guess it's the skeptical in me thought, that's the perfect way for a company to monitor everything that I'm doing by listening into my Echo. Like, it just makes sense. So I don't know. I wonder sometimes if the Echo is doing more than just fulfilling your requests because of that. I don't know.
Well, I know we've had several instances here at the house where it's just gone on by itself and start playing music. Or we were watching TV one day and I heard a phone ringing and I walked into the kitchen and Alexa had taken somebody from my phone and called them. I didn't ask her to call them. Maybe she was making plans. I don't know.
So I have a story. Interesting story from Mother's Day.
It's not like we were talking about something or anything.
No, well, we're done. We're done with that. This comes out of Fort Myers, Florida.
Grandpa.
Close to home. Yeah. So basically, it says motherhood agrees with Megan Davidson this Mother's Day. The fit, dark-haired mother of two cradled her 19-week large baby bump while sitting at her neighborhood pool on a recent balmy night and spoke with satisfied smile about the coming birth of Ozzy, her fourth child, which is a weird name to name your child, Ozzy, but whatever. She's pretty excited, and here's why. At 4:30 in the afternoon on June 29th, while Megan was walking along the sidewalk outside her parents' home in Fort Myers, the couple's life took a tragic turn. A bolt of lightning found the then 26-year-old and struck her on top of her heart, on top of the heart of her unborn son. The ensuing trauma included a collapsed lung, bruised heart, and burns for Megan, and an emergency C-section to deliver Owen, which I'm guessing is her third child. It set off several weeks of uncertainty for both the mother and son. Owen did not survive. He was pronounced dead on July 12th. I don't have much memory, Davison said, of the feeling when thousands of volts of electricity zapped her. I don't remember much, only the last 2 or 3 days. The couple, after months of recovery and reflection, decided to try again to grow their family, and now are expecting to welcome their son Ozzy into the world in early October. They speak without hesitation and with great conviction and comfort that a higher power guided them during the aftermath of Owen's death. So, yeah. Crazy that a bolt of lightning, which the odds are astronomical, aren't they, of getting hit by lightning,
Yeah.
to not only hit her, but hit dead on with her unborn child in her stomach, right on the heart. Like, that's crazy. And then to be able to conceive again, like, I don't know. I saw that and found that interesting. Nothing.
It is interesting. It's I don't know. It has to make you believe in a higher power, I would think.
Yeah. I mean,
After something like that, who would believe you could conceive again?
yeah. I mean, just the I mean, she's lucky to be living.
Right.
But then on top of that, I would have to imagine, and I don't know the woman's anatomy that well, but the womb would have to be scarred. And to be able to do that is impressive.
Right.
Absolutely impressive. Got anything for us, sir?
Yeah, lots of things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you got?
So earlier, we were all walking. Check the mail.
Yes, sir.
And your father said, oh, is that one of those, buy it yourself blow-up houses or whatnot?
In the backyard of that one house?
Yeah. You ever see them blow away?
No.
No? They're pretty heavy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that.
Alright. So, a bounce house with a 9-year-old child inside suddenly got swept onto a nearby highway
Ah!
in San Bernardino, California,
Jesus.
and slammed into a vehicle.
No.
Yep. A fucking bounce house.
Oh, my.
9-year-old kid playing in the
Inside of
backyard.
it.
Swooped up. I don't know how far you had to be, because no house is directly on top of a freeway. They're
Right,
close, but
right.
not directly on top.
They're like on the cliffs and stuff like that.
Right, like I don't know how it happened. Luckily, the child did not die and had minor injuries. Now, this is at 3 p.m. today, and the driver is shook up from the entire ordeal.
God, you think?
With a totaled car.
Totaled
car.
My God. What the hell happened to total that car out?
A fucking 9-year-old child in a bounce house.
Yeah, but it's a bounce house. If the wind can lift it, you can think a car's not going to survive that
And
kind
a
of blow?
child.
Still, though.
Could you imagine his story? Like, what would you
flew.
be thinking? Yeah.
He got to fly.
If only he was a penguin.
And then you go out to tell the kid for their birthday, we're going to take you to pump it up.
We had when we were kids, we had a trampoline.
Yeah.
There were a few different instances with the trampoline. Well, no, the trampoline, we only had that one instance where it lifted up over the fence and landed in the next door neighbor behind us' house.
Right.
But the shed,
Right.
that was the crazy one. We had a, I guess you could say, microburst.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a shed in the backyard that had a bunch of stuff in it. And that thing lifted up over the fence.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
Yep, flew and slammed into the roof of the house across the street from us.
Embedded it into the roof.
Yep.
What was this? A bounce house?
No, this was a shed.
Okay. See, like I've seen the like in Tornado Alley and everything.
Right.
The trampolines that get picked up out of the yard.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Could you imagine if a kid was ever one of those? Like, holy shit.
That's unreal. That's unreal.
You know what else is unreal? The fugitive that accidentally called 911 that led to his arrest. He had him on speed dial, and his phone, like, he butt dialed the police, and they were able to pick up who it was, and came and arrested him on the spot.
I read about the old couple that caught a criminal in their upstairs bedroom a few weeks ago, and the way they discovered him was the old guy told his wife a joke, and they heard laughter coming from upstairs.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And they went and got him.
Huh. It's a butt dial the police.
Yeah.
Nice. Why you have 911 as a speed dial number is beyond me. But
Maybe he was a snitch.
yeah, maybe. So if he's a snitch, then why was he get
'Cause
arrested?
He snitched on himself.
Yeah, maybe. So it's a valid point.
I don't know there, sir. But not a lot going on in the news this week.
A lot.
You said a lot?
A lot, yeah. I've been trying to stay away from the news as much as possible this week. That's not true. I stay away from the news every day. But, yeah. I will say that I got nothing but rave reviews over last week's episode, by the way. From people I talked to, their favorite part was you. So,
Yeah.
that's a plus.
I think we had a total of 110 hits. I'd like to see us get to 150. So if you enjoy what you're hearing, tell people.
Yeah, and leave us a rating on iTunes
So, yeah.
or a review, because your guys' ratings are our word of mouth. So
That's how people
that's how
find out.
people find us, you know?
And just so you know, we did reach out and did get a hold of a stand-up comedian,
Yes.
Flip Orley.
Ortiz. Oh, Orley.
Flip Orley. He's a stand-up hypnotist who's going to come on and talk with us. And I don't know, hypnotism. That's always something that's been interesting to me. Do you think it's real?
I've been hypnotized.
You've been
By
hypnotized?
Country Thunder.
Really?
I
Swear to God.
I actually believe in it.
Swear to God. It was at Country Thunder, and it was 12 of us on stage. And I have it on video. Chris and Kelly that you guys met at the gender reveal party. That's what they have video of, is me being hypnotized. I turned into some chick named Samantha. I'm a big boy. I was doing the fucking worm
Really?
stage. Swear to, I don't know how to do any of it. Like, I don't know how to dance. I don't know how to do any of this shit. So
And do you remember going under or anything? Or
I just remember from watching the video.
Wow.
It's like a lapse of memory.
Wow.
I feel like the only way you can be hypnotized is if you are open to the idea.
Right.
I feel like most people who are skeptics of it go in there being skeptics when they're trying to do it, and it doesn't work. And then they say hypnotism doesn't work. But
And-
I think if you go with a clear mind,
Why aren't there more crimes committed by hypnotists?
That's a great question.
Think about it.
Because I think it takes a while to actually be hypnotized.
Did it take you long?
Yeah. Because, like, there's parts in it to where, like, initially, you know, like, you're not being hypnotized initially. Someone's going to say, clap your hands, and you're going to clap your hands.
Right. Right.
It's I think it's not more of a being hypnotized.
Right.
I think it's just letting go of your common sense and intellectual thinking and just going with the word of, or the voice that they have,
Wow.
you know, and you do what they end up saying versus, you know, like I could say, Mike, clap your hands, you're going to clap your hands, just
Right.
to kind of go along with it. But maybe because this was like a 30-minute video, maybe 5-10 minutes in, you just don't even know what you're doing anymore and just start doing it.
So that's interesting. It's going to be interesting to hear his viewpoint. But then to take and make comedy, well, I guess that would be funny either way if you're making people do
Yeah, you can make people do whatever you want.
different things. That would be funny. I know he does perform often at the Tempe Improv, and we've been invited several times to go and just have never gone. So I think it would be interesting to see, just to find out more about it. But he's going to be on an upcoming episode.
Yep.
Would love to have more guests and find out what's going on. But also love to hear from you guys just what you think. You know, what do you want to hear us talk about? What do you think is interesting? We try to stay away from the politics. There's enough of that crap on TV.
Try to hit you with the hard-hitting crimes.
I think we also stay away from the politics because we all have opposing views of what's going on.
Yep.
And that's okay because that's what makes this country what it is today.
Mike's a liberal. I'm a Republican. and Carter's
A universal.
changing of his underwear.
What?
It changes every day.
No, my point of view is pretty standard. I'm more
Whatever
one
floats
with,
your boat.
one with the universe. I don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
one love.
And it's funny,
Gay owl.
being labeled a liberal. I'm an independent
Are you?
by nature, yes. I happen right now to agree on the liberal standpoint of things, because the direction we're going is just not a good direction.
All right, one quick political ploy.
Please.
The North Korea thing.
Right?
Do you give Trump any credit?
No,
Okay.
no. And you know why?
Nope.
Okay. I lived through the Iran hostage situation, and Jimmy Carter tried for a year to get those guys out, and they were working on all the arrangements of having it done, but it didn't take place until Ronald Reagan stepped into the office, and they made it look like this is something Reagan did, when in fact it wasn't. Do I think Trump did this? No. No.
So you
Do I think...
Obama did it?
I don't think Obama did it either. No,
Okay.
no. I think Kim Jong-un, has his reasonings for why he's doing what he's doing.
You think there's a?
Never trust a sheep wearing wolf's clothing.
I was going to say something along the lines of that. Yeah.
You know, I just don't give into this. Do I think Trump gives himself credit for it?
Of course.
Of course he does. It's huge. Huge. I just, and we're not going to get into it, and we said we weren't going to get into it. But what's his wife's big campaign this week?
I don't watch the news.
Oh, she did a big thing. Her thing that she's going to push forward is cyberbullying and how bad that is.
Nice.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it other than the fact that the program she initiated is the exact same one that Michelle Obama did how many years ago. That's number one. Number two, who's the biggest cyberbully around right now?
I was just going to point that out.
I thought Michelle Obama's was the child's weight loss.
That wasn't the only thing she did.
Yeah, she pushed cyberbullying first.
Okay, but number two, who's the biggest cyberbully around right now?
Well, of course.
Well, and let's go back to that comment. You said because of what when we were talking about politicians become a reality show.
I know what I was trying to get at.
Right.
That's what happens when you elect
Right.
an ex reality show host to the office.
To a certain extent, reality TV has ruined TV.
It's ruined America.
It's ruined TV. I mean, did we really need how many seasons of Jersey Shore?
And we're back.
I used to laugh and say, how stupid did we look to other countries just by watching what we were watching on TV?
Look at 16 and pregnant.
Look at Caitlyn Jenner. The Kardashians.
Uh-oh. What about it?
Oh, come on. Do we really need to watch the Kardashians and all that crap that they go through?
How about Kanye?
Only if they're naked.
Oh.
Even then, I don't want to see it. Even look at Kanye saying slavery was a choice. I mean, the fuck? I guess. I mean...
So, Reggie, you finished Black Panther this week.
Yep.
What did you think?
It was good.
Was it what you thought it was going to be?
Nope.
It's like pulling teeth.
It's too political.
You think Black Panther was political?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you really?
In aspects, yes.
I didn't even finish it. I never thought that. It was the first half, at least.
You wouldn't have. In the parts
It's
you
not
saw.
until the second half?
Not until Michael B. Jordan becomes more prevalent into
See,
the movie.
that's what I keep hearing, too.
Yeah.
Is his character so damn political
So
that it turns people off.
spoiler alert, like your dad told us before we finished it, is Michael B. Jordan kills Black Panther.
Right.
Okay. And then he becomes Black Panther.
Right.
At that point is when all of the political bullshit throws itself into the movie.
So,
But
okay.
did you understand where he was coming from?
Yes.
Okay. And did it make sense that if this country had all of this technology to solve these issues, that somebody from the outside would be upset that those issues hadn't been addressed.
Yes,
But
and
what were the issues?
Oppression.
Oppression.
but here was my thought is the whole time, like, according to like the America in Black Panther, right? Wakanda was this malnourished, underprivileged country.
Right.
But yet they had, in all reality, these crazy technological advances.
Because they kept it secret.
Right. And yet the world still thought they were just poor people,
Right.
you know? And my whole thought is, like, for America, for instance, do we have a lot of technological advances that far advance the rest of the world? Yes. But I also feel that they should work on fixing America and the issues that America faces daily.
Right.
Homelessness, children going hungry,
Thank you,
things
baby.
of that nature.
Thank you.
I feel like that should be fixed before trying to save someone else's. Will you put mine in the freezer? Before trying to, save someone else or their country.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of talk right now with Trump wanting to do away with welfare and food stamps and how that whole system will work. I personally feel that, fast food restaurants, though it may not be healthy food, if a child walks into McDonald's and has no money but is starving, I feel that it should be that company, or not only the company, but the country as a whole, to feed that child. Because it is not their fault that their family has no money to feed them.
Church's chicken. If you ever go to churches, there's
Yeah.
I've been in a church as well. A homeless man comes in and says he's hungry, and they'll give him a drumstick, a biscuit, and a drink.
Right. Or there's a couple restaurants, pizza places, that are now going viral because they have the ability. So say one of the three of us walks into a restaurant. They say, would you like to buy a slice for the next person that's unable to? And it's $1, and they stick a Post-it note up on the wall. And if you ever come in and, whether it be you forgot your wallet, you have no money, you're homeless, you're poor, whatever it may be, you're able to
Slice
grab
it
one
on
of
the
those
house.
Post-it notes and turn it in like it was cash. So you're actually giving the business something like, and feeling like you're paying for it
Right.
and getting something to eat. I feel like the world's homelessness and underprivileged, well, not privileged, but, like the people that it's not their fault. It's never a child's fault that their parents cannot provide them food. They may be on welfare and food stamps, but a lot of the times, and I know this from employees that I have right now, they take those food stamps because the whole system is kind of shitty. One employee in particular gets $1,000 a month in food stamps for herself and 2 kids. I don't know anybody in their right mind that's blowing through $1,000 a month in groceries. Like, if you're on food stamps, you should not be able to buy lobster and filet mignon every night. It should be
Right.
something to where you're getting by. It's what needs to feed your children, and it shouldn't be, all this sugary shit or soda or whatever the hell, you may want. There should be a strict, kind of like the WIC program.
I was gonna say.
I
that.
respect the WIC program because it tells you exactly, okay, you can get 2
get a
gallons
check.
of, 2% milk. You can get 1 box of this cereal, and a lot of it is vegetables and meats and chicken.
My
because
kids run WIC. I know exactly all
right,
about it.
because that's something that is actually going to nourish your children, compared to, oh, well, what'd you buy with your food stamps? Oh, I bought $1,000 worth of soda.
You can
Well,
go to Jack in the Box and use the EBT card.
See, and that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. That's where I have a problem, where you can see an EBT sign at Jack in the Box or Taco Bell or
Right.
McDonald's saying that they'll take it. You shouldn't.
No.
Because that $10 meal you're going to buy or that $5 Happy Meal you're going to buy, you can make a dinner for your entire family for that $5.
Right.
Be realistic.
Exactly.
A jar of spaghetti sauce, noodles, the whole thing. I have a problem with that.
Agreed. And that's where I think, like, there needs to be guidelines, and that's why I like the WIC program in that, but I feel like going back to the Black Panther thing, is they wanted to help the world, without helping themselves first.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like the old additive in a relationship. You can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. So it's like, if you're not taking care of yourself and your country and those in it, why then, you know, try to help the world when so many within are struggling?
So, just to touch back on the subject.
Sure.
Black Panther dies at the end of Black Panther.
No, not in the end. In the middle.
Oh, so it's in the middle. Okay. So Black Panther somehow preserved. We'll go with that then, because I don't understand how he shows up in Infinity War.
Right. So yeah, your dad didn't tell you the full aspect of it.
Okay.
By any means.
No, I didn't.
But we'll just go with he does die.
Okay.
And then Michael B. Jordan takes over. And his whole thing was, so they had spies in every country and in every city of America. And his whole thing was, oh, well, we have the ability to make these weapons that are untouchable, unbreakable, and far superior than anything anyone's ever seen. We're going to send it to all of them, and they're going to supply all of the blacks with anything we need to make our people strong again. That's what I didn't like, is that it wasn't, we're going to, it was not only, to me, political, but racially led or charged, yes, is we're not going to, you know, make the world a better place. We're going to make our people the superior race.
Well, he said our people, but he kept talking about the oppressed.
Yeah.
To me, I took that could mean anybody who was oppressed. Because if you have people all over the world, there are not African Americans all over the world.
Especially those being oppressed.
You know, so I was thinking it was anybody who was oppressed by the wealthy, by the rich, by the, you know, society. Mm-hmm. That's how I took it.
I guess that's a valid way to look at it.
It is. I just think, you know, for myself, and the reason I look at it a certain way is going back to, you know, your mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
When you see, you know, Kevin Durant, LeBron James say our people, it's not, or Colin Kaepernick, our people, and he wants to talk about the oppressed, yet he makes, you know, $14 million a year, but he's really oppressed.
Adopted by white people.
Yep, adopted by white people.
Colin Kaepernick, that's just funny.
Mixed race, but you know, he's an oppressed black man. Makes no sense to me. It's like, you know, the part that I hate is that you have these celebrities that are worth millions, and not even celebrities, athletes that are worth millions, and they choose, I think, the wrong way to go about their agenda or their platform. You know, you have so many children that look up to you, and LeBron James, for instance, you have more than just black children that look up to you. You are now supposed to be the greatest of all time, surpassing Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all the greats. But you have white children, Mexican children, Chinese children. Anybody that wants to be a professional basketball player looks up to LeBron James, or
that's
someone
what comes with the territory,
right,
being
or
the greatest of all time,
or someone of that nature. Yeah. You know, Steph Curry, whoever it may be. So stop with the our people thing, because everybody in the world, in one place or another, is oppressed.
But you know what? He's not the greatest of all time. Michael Jordan will always be the greatest. LeBron will never be able to surpass him.
Why?
Because Michael Jordan was able to do it with the same team, the same group of guys. Michael Jordan didn't have to go to Miami with Dwayne Wade and the other guy.
He wasn't chasing a ring.
He wasn't chasing a ring?
Michael.
No, Michael never did. No, Michael never did. Michael made the players around him better.
Right.
He didn't try to do it all himself. He went to Miami, won it there, and then came back. And who'd he bring back with him?
Who?
When he went to Cleveland, who'd he take?
Who?
He started putting players, other high-class players around him.
Of course.
Which I think is part of the problem with the NBA.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to make these super teams.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with baseball.
It's the same thing in all reality in any sport there is.
I disagree with that because I feel like football is more well balanced.
Really?
I do.
You don't think the Patriots draft and trade for the best players?
I think they do, but they're not. They don't build monstrosity teams. I mean, look at their star players last year when they won the Super Bowl. Who was there?
Well, it's because their people got hurt.
But still, the point in, they didn't really have anybody. And I feel like football, and maybe it's because football, there's like 3 main positions that you look at as giant players for the team: wide receiver, running back, quarterback. Those are your 3 positions that you have, these big names in. You don't see monstrous teams anymore as much as you used to. Like, if you had Odell on one side of you, Fitz on the other side, and, I don't know, throw another wide receiver out there that's fucking amazing, then I would say that team that has that setup, with Brady as your quarterback, that team is a monster team. You just don't see that anymore. You may see a good running back, a great quarterback, and a good wide receiver with 2 wide receivers that are okay, but you don't see that stackness in football. I feel like baseball, if the money's there, you can buy whoever you want. Basketball, same thing. If the money's there, you can buy whoever you want. You see it with the big 3 in Cleveland or in Miami when it was there. You're seeing the big 3 in Golden State.
Golden State, Cleveland now because they're starting to again. And then potentially Philadelphia. Because they're trying to get LeBron to Philadelphia. And that's still a thing.
It's also part of the problem as to why Phoenix is as bad as they are with the Suns, because Sarver won't spend the money.
Yep.
They try to cut corners. Phoenix reminds me of the old Cleveland Indians from Major League, where she was trying to save money, and I'm surprised they don't fly a prop job when they go to play out of town.
No, I agree with that, because it's like when Devin Booker this year won the 3-point contest. Unless you're from Arizona, a lot of people didn't know who the fuck he was.
Right.
And it's like, kids just turned 21 and is an incredible player, yet nobody knows who he is because he's not part of the big 3.
And so, just got done eating a Blizzard. And it was the berry cheesecake Blizzard, which was very good. Very good. One of my favorites. I like their cheesecake Blizzards, but the berry one's really good because it has big chunks of berries in it. And the only reason I bring that up is because tomorrow we start keto. We're going to do the keto diet. And to keep myself honest with the keto diet, I'll report each week where I'm at with it. As far as...
Do we have a scale in this house?
Yeah, we have several.
Okay.
To talk about, if it's working, how well it's working.
And if we've cheated.
If we cheated, we'll be straight up with it.
Well, so I've been told, though, like, on watching all these people that lost a lot of weight with keto, is once a week they do a cheat day. Because it shocks your system. Instead of, like... Because if you do anything for too long, your body gets complacent and stops changing.
Right.
So they do a once-a-week cheat day. Normally it's Sundays.
And everything I've read said don't.
Okay.
So,
if
and...
you're going to do a cheat day, do it once a month, not once a week. Once a week is drastic. That's my opinion, sorry. You guys continue talking about keto.
Got to do something, so... I'm a big guy. I'm not going to say what I weigh yet.
I think I'm at 265.
That's good.
I dropped 20 pounds.
Oh, yeah?
Well, you look like you did.
Yeah?
You look like you
I
did.
tell you that every time I see you.
I've been eating a lot less.
All that gay porn?
Gay porn.
Yeah.
I've been eating a lot more...
you know what it is?
What?
You can poop more now. Your
Your
butthole's gaped.
No, I've been having dinner with a friend of mine.
Oh, a friend.
My girlfriend.
There you go.
And I tend not to eat as much as when I'm around her, as maybe when I'm by myself, only because I don't like eating a lot of food around a girl.
Allie tells me the same shit. Like, and I find it to be true. She'll go to bed, and that's when I start to get my cravings for snacks. Go get a
It's
bowl
the
of
weirdest
cereal.
thing. But like, what she's vegetarian.
Oh, that's why you want to go vegetarian.
That's why I'm going vegetarian instead of keto. Because she's made some things for me that are almost vegetarian. The only thing that's different is that there's a couple slices of turkey bacon in there.
Well, now that's
But-
the question. Are you going full blown no meat, or are you going to be like the where you can have chicken occasionally?
No. It'll be if I do it, it's gonna be no meat. I want to do like. I don't want to go vegan. I don't want to do. I don't want to do vegan because I feel like I need eggs. I don't like beans.
You can have eggs doing keto.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know in keto. The only reason why I'm not going keto is because I do want to remove meat completely for a little while. See where I end up. See if I can drop some weight. I may introduce meat maybe once or twice a month. But like,
But I thought you said she eats meat.
so yes and no. She chooses when she's at home not to make food with meat in it.
Okay.
With a 10-year-old, it's hard to say no meat ever again.
Right.
Because, he loves hamburgers and pizzas and what kids like to eat. So there's times, like, if we have a burger together, she'll get the black bean burger instead of a regular burger. And, we'll have burgers. But, if she's over here and we're making a barbecue, she's not going to sit there and say, "Did you make anything vegan for me?" Because
So should I get vegetable burgers?
if you want to.
Is she
I
vegan
would-
or vegetarian?
Vegetarian.
There's a big difference.
She's vegetarian.
So she's not going to eat any of the
What, the brisket?
yeah.
I'm sure she'll have a little bit. She won't gorge like I will, but yeah.
Going back 2 episodes ago, she knows plants have feelings too.
And we had that conversation, yeah.
Okay.
We had that conversation because we had a conversation a couple weeks ago about how she explained to me why she was doing the vegetarian thing, and it wasn't necessarily, it was about eating healthier and stuff, but she does believe in the concept of, when you eat meat, you're eating the fear that they feel when they die. And
That's what makes it taste the best.
Exactly right. I quickly turned to it and said, "You do know that 90% of vegetables out there produce an enzyme that makes vegetables bitter when you cook it, because it knows it's being cut up and cooked and being eaten." I said, "You also know," and actually I didn't say this, but another girl at my work had made the comment that, "Do you know why onions make you cry when you cut them? It's a defense mechanism from the onion that it produces that liquid." I swear this is what was told to us. And even I was like, that makes sense.
Well,
Oh my
so
God.
in a way, I could see that because with crab,
Uh-huh.
if you don't cook it immediately after you kill it, it will poison its body.
Well, and that's like a lobster.
Lobster,
you never
pufferfish.
you're never to buy a lobster out of a tank in a grocery store,
Why?
because once they're caught and they're put in that type of environment, they start eating themselves from within. And whenever you get a lobster from this grocery store and you cut open the tail, you'll notice it has this gelatin around the meat, and that's the former meat that's already been
Dissolved by
dissolved, right?
Well, did you know that Eastern, so East Coast versus West Coast lobsters are different?
East Coast and West Coast lobsters are different?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because of
one's
the water?
one's caught in the East Coast, the other's caught in
No,
the...
so in actual what they are, like East Coast, your main lobsters have the giant claws, and in the West Coast they do not.
So question then. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
Oh,
there.
you're fine. I was done.
Tank lobsters. Would you ever order a lobster from Red Lobster?
No.
Because of that same thing.
No, because I don't like red lobster.
Well, I'm
How
saying,
could you pass up their cheddar biscuits?
I
Oh,
don't
very
think they're all that
easily.
great.
They're not.
I
They're
don't.
my
I don't
favorite.
like biscuits in general,
I
but
don't
cheddar
like those
biscuits are like.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I would. We've gone to some really nice seafood places that have them, and I wouldn't.
You won't because of that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my whole thing is I don't think you should get actual seafood unless you're on a coast.
Or
Like
it's
if
being
you were
caught daily.
right, if you were in
San Diego,
San
right.
Diego has good
Malibu,
seafood,
whatever
too.
it may be, and you're eating on the pier,
Right.
it's freshly caught that day.
Right.
Same with, the East Coast, and you're in New England or you're in
Right.
Maine, whatever it may be. It's right there. It's not being like
Right.
Arizona. I've always wanted to try oysters, and there's an oyster bar in Arizona. I would never go to it because, well, there's no oysters in Arizona.
Right.
There's Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not eating bull testicles.
I grew up. A lot of my childhood was on Long Island, and my dad used to have a boat that we'd go out on for weekends, and it was a cabin cruiser, so it had sleeping and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go out there and clam,
Okay.
and you would literally park the boat in 4 foot of water, jump over the sides, and you'd move around with your feet until you felt them, and you'd dig it up with your foot, and then you'd go under and pull it out and throw it in a basket. Some of my fondest memories were sitting on the boat and having him open them up. A little Worcestershire sauce, a little cocktail sauce, and it was
Do
heaven.
you eat the clams raw?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and when I lived in Washington, my pops lived in Anacortes,
Uh-huh.
and he had a boat like that. So we'd go out boating, and then he'd have, like the old cowboy camping style, like blue and white sparkled
Right.
or speckled coffee pot.
Right.
We'd throw that on the burner and throw the crab right in,
Oh, wow.
and have, we just caught the crab and then straight into there, and you eat it right away.
They used to go out on Friday nights to the creek right behind where we lived.
Mm-hmm.
They'd go out on a boat, the smaller boats, the little outboard, and they'd have a big spotlight and crab nets. And they'd go along the shore with the spotlight in the boat until they saw the crabs, and they'd scoop them up, and they'd come back with basketfuls. And that's why I don't eat crab to this day, because they would come back with bushels of clams or crabs, and we'd eat crab
All the time.
every which way. And to this day, I won't.
Well, that's like one of my coworkers. She was saying they went to Rhode Island over the summer last year, and the McDonald's there sells lobster rolls,
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
and
East Coast does that.
they said every meal was something lobster.
Right,
And I was like, that's just incredible. Like,
right.
that's like their source of pork or cow.
Exactly.
See, I couldn't do
For
that.
those like in Arizona.
I don't like seafood at all.
Okay, I
cannot.
love it.
I would have to go vegetarian because there's no way I'd eat that shit at all. No.
You
I
think
don't
that
like
why
fish.
Tom Brady's on the TB12 diet? All
Probably
vegan.
all vegan because you can't eat that seafood shit. That's gross.
Yeah.
Fish, crabs, shrimp. Sometimes I can have shrimp every now and then, but it's just like,
So now the keto diet is very much like the Atkins diet, where it's
almost identical, right?
it pretty much is. There's
Except
a lot
no
of
sugar fruits.
lot
like
of
apples
cheese.
and
right. Well, you can eat berries.
Wait, I can't have apples?
stuff. No.
You can have apples.
I thought apples are on the no list.
I'll have
Apples,
to check.
bananas,
I know bananas are on the no list.
pears, all that stuff is no. At least one of the articles I read when we guys first proposed it to me, I was reading on it too. And one of the things I saw was like the only fruits you can have are berries.
What about oranges?
No,
What about cuties?
no,
Blood oranges?
Nope.
no.
What the hell?
You call it
They're high
any
in sugar content.
any.
Which is what you're trying
But they're
to eliminate.
natural sugars.
Doesn't matter. You're
Your
trying to
body
eliminate
still
all
does
sugar at
need
all.
natural sugar.
You're trying to eliminate all sugar at all.
I went to Friday. I let Lynn talk me into going to get a pedicure because I have one problem on one of my feet. I have a callus that just needs to probably be surgically removed. And we thought, well, we go there and let him do it. And we've been talking about it for a while. So I finally went, and it's awkward. Number one, being a guy.
I've done it. Yeah.
And they're all the Vietnamese women, and and they made me sit in the bathtub thing where you put your feet in, and you soak your feet for a long time.
They massage your calves.
Well, they eventually
Yeah.
they called it a sugar scrub, and
Very popular.
they come out and they hold your foot up and they pour this stuff on it, and they try scrubbing the scaling the stuff off your feet, and then soaking again. But then at the end, she takes these oranges, these slices of oranges, and from your knees down, rub them on your knees, on the back of your calves, on the front, your toes, everything.
That.
Yep.
Then she takes this paste that looks like orange tapioca,
Oh, I've never seen that.
and it was sugar. And she rubs that into your leg, and as she's rubbing it, you can feel it feels like granulated sugar being rubbed into your
It
leg.
exfoliates.
And then they stick you back in the water, and then they rinse your legs off. And then she took the lotions and massaged my calves. Very awkward. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. I've had a manicure too.
Was not fun at all.
Yeah, you know what I did?
What's that?
Because I chew my fingers. I went in and got a manicure.
Yeah.
They said, what you want me to do? Chop your fingers off and give you new fingers? Because that's how bad they are.
Wow.
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 You ever gone in with like your beef fry, your best friend,
Yeah.
and get a pedicure?
No.
Two guys sitting. Oh, I've done that.
No. The
You
only
get
time
some
I've ever done
quite the conversations.
I've done a manicure with an old boss of mine, and I did a manicure with my ex-wife. Both times I was like, ugh. And I had a pedicure with my ex-wife, and I didn't mind the pedicure because I'll tell you right now, I'm lazy when it comes to cutting my toenails. I get really bad at it, just to the point where I'm like, ugh, I don't want to.
Ugh.
My fingernails, I have the same problem, but I even had one point the other day at work. I went to the store on my lunch break and bought $1 pair of nail clippers just to do my nails because they were so bad. But yeah.
But okay, so now you got a date.
Uh-huh.
Now you got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You want her to see your toes?
I keep my socks on, and just in case.
They don't bother her when you're in bed with the socks?
Well,
Not in a sexual way, but
no,
sleeping.
I don't. Probably the first time, because the first time I wasn't necessarily thinking all that through, but after that, I've tried to keep up on it, but I haven't quite to the fullest. But no, I'm sure it does bother her. It hasn't been a conversation that we've had. I'm sure we'll have it in a couple days now. But yeah, no, it's definitely something I think about. It's not like I neglect it and think, oh, I have a girlfriend, I don't really care. It's just a matter of like, after working a 10-hour day and coming home or I'll go spend time with her and then I'll come home and it's just the last thing that's on my mind.
Right.
And then when I have the boys on the weekend, it's the last thing on my mind. So I'm playing with them or doing whatever with them, and it's just something I lose track of. Well, more than anything, I lose track of it in my week. And eventually we'll just get around to doing it when I do it, and I need to become better at that. I know that for sure.
That self-care.
Self-care, absolutely.
Has your showering schedule got better?
My showering schedule has always been once a day. Sometimes twice a day, but mainly once a day. Usually in the morning before I go to work. This thing that I've been working on the most is deodorant, because I have a problem with stick deodorant. Whether it be stick, gel, or whatever, I have a problem where it'll clog up the pores in my armpit when I'm using antiperspirant, and then I'll get these welts.
Welts or zits.
And it gets...
Yeah.
God, this arm is still... On my right arm, I still have one that no matter what I do, it will not go away.
Slice it.
So I've done that, and it comes back. And so I'm using Degree spray that's supposed to go on dry and keep you dry all day long. And for the most part, lately it's been working pretty well. But there are some days where I'll spray it on, and then I'll get halfway through the day and be like, man, why? And not even realize that I'm stinking as bad as I do. But yeah,
I don't like deodorant.
Yeah, it's tough. And I tried using the all-natural stuff because I went to a doctor once. They said that I had a staph infection, which then I saw another doctor a couple weeks later. They were like, yeah, that's not true at all. Mm-hmm. It happened to be the deodorant thing. And he said, try something natural. Try this. It'll work. I did. I think it's called Tom's. Didn't do a damn thing for me.
Yeah, stuff doesn't work.
I still smelled like crap by the end of the day. I smelled like a crap 20 minutes later. And I was like, how does that even work?
I don't wear deodorant.
Yeah, I can tell.
Well, it's also 9 o'clock at night, and I've worked all gosh darn day.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't like it. Because I get the same thing.
You get the same problem.
And it's like, it turns into what feels like a whitehead or whatever.
Yes.
But in all reality, it's just that deodorant soaking into your pores and your
especially when
system.
you're using that anti-dispersion,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it's got I think it's aluminum in it, and so that gets into your system, and it's just a mess.
I'm just going back to the caveman days.
Just hoping that eventually the stain will go away.
I feel like that's what the keto diet is.
Yeah,
Is
pretty
really
much.
the caveman diet, Very few berries or vegetables, and obviously no carbs. In the aspect of bread and pastas and things
Sure.
of that nature.
Grains, all that
Or grains, it's just meat and veggies. We're good. Stop pointing to wrap it up.
stuff. I do.
Oh, you gotta go potty? Well, on that note, I have the fat man of the week.
Good.
He just so happens to be a fat man.
Perfect.
Yeah. Doesn't give his name, or does it? Hold on. Give me 1 second, please. Craig Manning,
Okay.
out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Graduated Temple University.
Sweet.
I want to say he's like in his 50s
Okay.
with his daughter.
Really?
Yep. He got a Bachelor's of Arts degree in film and media,
Nice.
while she graduated with a dual major in linguistics and creative writing.
Awesome.
So I thought that was kind of cool. He had never been able to finish college because when he was in, his wife was in the military and they got stationed in Germany,
Sure.
and just kind of, gave up on school at that point.
Uh huh.
And then went into the working field.
Makes sense.
And when his daughter went into college at Temple University, his daughter propositioned him to get a degree with her.
That's cool.
So they went through college together and both graduated at the same time.
They're coming out with a movie like that in a couple weeks with Melissa McCarthy
Okay.
about her going back to school with her daughter, and I think that should be fun. So
Yeah, so I thought
that's a great story.
that was pretty neat. So Craig
Definitely good
Manning
story.
out of Philadelphia.
Congratulations, Craig.
Absolutely.
Hope
Thought
you're
that was
listening.
pretty neat.
All right. Sounds good.
Alrighty, folks. On that note, drink the good drinks, eat the good foods, and be an overall good person.
I love fat people.